Radical allowing and radical honesty. How does this help us to be present, to be here now in the moment, and not to be lost in the mind? Hello, this is Wake Up Chris speaking with a video about being present, about radical allowing and radical honesty, and how to get out of the mind and into your body and into your intuition and into the flow. Thank you to all my Patreons. Thank you very much. Thank you also to everyone who is putting their time into the Facebook group where we have really great discussions. And thank you for subscribing and hitting the bell button. So, it has crystallized in the last months in many conversations and some courses also that a major problem seems to be, okay, if not with my mind, with what? How do I get out of my mind? How do I not think? How am I supposed to be present without using the mind? For thousands of years, Eastern philosophers and sages have taught us to use our minds less. Up till now, Eckhart Tolle is very, very popular teaching of how to be in the moment, but how to do it actually. We all know that it would be better to be present in the moment here and now, but we're distracted and our mind is all over the place. So what to do? As Sri Aurobindo suggests, we have to start with our body, our mind, and our life. And a very good way to work with your mind is radical honesty. To just always be honest with yourself and others, especially people who are near to you. Don't make up stories, just tell them what you really think and really feel. What is your reality right now? Don't beat around the bush. This will free up an enormous amount of time and energy that you put otherwise into hiding things. This is a good basis, but I think we even have to go deeper. We have to really start with our body. And to start with our body, there's a very cool invention, psychological concept called radical allowing that has been recommended to me. Thank you, Tom. And I tried it out for some time intensely, and it works. It really works. No method works for everyone all the time. It has to come at the right time. You have to be ready for it and have to suit you somehow. It's a bit provocative and confrontative. That's why it's called radical allowing. But the main premise is really good. It's allowing what is there. What we are trying to do is feel happy all the time. But it's not always the case. And we're trying to suppress negative emotions and negative thoughts and negativity in general. We don't want to feel it. It feels like a threat. And there will be resistance once you try to be radically honest and radically allow what is happening in your body. The first things that will come up will be resistances and negative emotions. Negative emotions because it will cause fear. The mind will be afraid to try out something new. It's always like that. The mind hates new things. The mind hates leaving your comfort zone. What the mind actually is a collection of memories and habits that have been formed to protect yourself. It's always on catastrophe mode, shock mode, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Those are the usual reactions, and we are reacting all the time. Very few of us are actually acting. We are reacting to things that are stressing us. and not admitting it. And even in spirituality, we're trying to do something. We're trying not to think. We're trying to meditate. We're trying to reach awakening or enlightenment or beyond enlightenment or nirvana or the liberated plane or whatever you want to call it. And again, your mind has something to do. Okay, now the task is to reach enlightenment. What do I have to do? It's not about doing something. It's about being present. If you're really present, things will open up. But how to be present? Being present starts with admitting what is already there, with admitting what is happening right now. You probably know this from any kind of meditation practice. You try to meditate, and then after a while you get upset because your foot falls asleep or your back starts hurting or your mind is still racing or you get bored or something, yeah? This is because you're trying to do something or trying not to do something. Instead of just allowing and sensing and feeling what is. And this can be practiced. Some people tend to do these things on their own, by themselves, and you can do it by yourself, but it will take a long time, months or years. So you better take a sabbatical of 1 year or so to do this if you really want to do it by yourself, because it's very, very hard to do it while normal life is going on. You can, of course, take some time, for example, 1 hour every morning, 1 hour every evening to do it. But still, it's easier to have some feedback because we have blind spots and we have automatic guardian programs that try to prevent us from going into presence. They're afraid that we will dissolve, that we will stop existing, or that something horrible happens, something like a childhood trauma, that we are being re-traumatized, which is not true. But this nothingness, this void, this unity that can be experienced then is something that the mind and its guardians cannot handle. They don't know what to do with it, so they're afraid. But once you did it a few times, the whole system will realize that you're not going to die doing it. That it's actually feeling very, very relaxing and relieving. Yeah? All kinds of stress will fall off your shoulders because a large part of your system has been in defense mode all your life, up till now. The easier way to do it is to do it with feedback, either with a psychotherapist who is trained in this, or in a group, and there will be a group starting tomorrow, which I call Crazy Bitches from Heaven. You could also call it deep diving or being present. And it's based on the idea of radical allowing and radical honesty, but there's more in there. The important thing here is that if you do it in a group or with a therapist or by yourself, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that it has nothing to do with thinking. And you will realize that. You will feel what is thinking and what is being. Once you know how being feels like, these two can't be confused anymore. Right now I've realized many people don't know what being feels like. That's maybe also the problem with Eckhart Tolle and so many other teachers. They talk about something, like Mochi, for example, very nice videos recently. They talk about something, but people can't relate to it because they're listening with their mind and they have nothing to relate to, no experience of what they're talking about. Except maybe some mystical peak experiences or some psychedelic experiences where for a few hours you felt it. You felt present and in unity. Everything is one. But before you get to this sensation and experience of unity, it's necessary to first feel yourself and to liberate a few parts of yourself that are split off and have started to be or to pretend to be identities of their own. What we often don't realize is that not only do we have a self, an ego, we have many selves and many egos. And they're changing. One time this ego is in charge and another time that ego is in charge and so on. That's why sometimes we have different opinions. We suffer from multiple personality disorder. Not only that we have a personality, we have several. And most of them are not really healthy because they came into being in a very, very uncomfortable and by a very, very uncomfortable situation, experience, mostly in your childhood. So we're running around like a bunch of children with PTSD and try to be adults. Because physically we are adults. At some point between 18 and let's say 30, it's expected that you are an adult and take over some responsibility. But how can I take responsibility for myself if I still feel like a small child and a scared one at that? I've been studying psychology for 30 years now, and more I have the impression that we have most of the psychological diseases there are, to some degree. Usually it's a very small degree. It's not manifest in a clinical way, but that doesn't mean we don't have them. We just have them in a manageable degree. And the reason why this is possible is because we have so many personalities, and every personality has at least one of those disorders. But once you get into this presence, this trauma and this disorder, or whatever you call it, can dissolve, can be let go. And then it's easier and more probable that things like awakening and enlightenment happens. There's never a guarantee. And if enlightenment or such happens, also many of these programs will dissolve, but not all of them. I know a lot of people who still have some old programs going on. They don't just all disappear at once. They disappear one at a time, step by step. But that doesn't mean we can't prepare for it. The sooner we let go of this baggage, of this extra weight, the better. And this is not personality development or positive thinking. This is being real, realistic, recognizing and acknowledging what actually is. And to finally stop playing the pretending game. Because many of these emotions that really hold us back and tie us down and keep us racing this red race are based on fear, shame, and guilt. And fear, shame, and guilt all come from our childhood, from uncomfortable situations that we couldn't handle at that time, where we were told that what we are feeling and we are thinking is wrong, that we're not allowed to be who we are, that we have to adapt and adjust, that we have to be part of this group hypnosis of subjects, of sheep with Stockholm syndrome. And the jump from a sheep with Stockholm syndrome to being liberated, unified, and enlightened is huge. It's huge, huge, huge. And to make this easier, again, there's no guarantee, but to make it easier and more probable, more accident prone, accident prone that enlightenment or waking up happens to you or can happen, it is very helpful to get to know yourself and to start with the body. That's the new thing. Anyone who has been trained in any kind of spiritual practice or religious practice, we've all been told that you're not your body. Forget about your body, ignore your body. And it's true that you're not only your body, but it's false that you're not your body at all. You're also your body. And your body knows what's good for you. And it gives you messages, and we keep ignoring them. I made a video recently, your mind is not your friend. Now this video you could also call your body is your friend. Your body is your friend. So do yourself a favor and spend more time with yourself, especially with your body, and see what happens. And if you need support, join the group or get a psychotherapist who practices radical allowing or radical honesty. We are like huge balloons with too much ballast, too much freight, too much weight. So throw off some weight, lift off and zoom out and see what reality is like. But before zooming out, you have to zoom in. Get to know yourself, or rather yourselves. Okay, thank you for liking and subscribing and hitting the bell button. Thank you for sharing the videos with your friends. And most of all, thank you for all my Patreons. See you soon.